In this video, we're going to be touring the outer garden beds of the backyard. We do this every month. My own personal garden journal, and you are invited to follow along to see what's going on, to maybe get some inspiration, maybe, and just see the progress now in December of 2024. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. I am Bowtie David. This is the Bowtie Gardens. If this is your first time coming here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. It is Destin, Florida, and it is December of 2024, as I've already said. And it's a little bit of a chilly day. It's gotten down to about sweatshirt time, and I am feeling just a wee bit of a chill, but we're going to be fine for today. The weather has turned for us. Today is the winter solstice, December 21st of 2024. The video that we did on the measuring of the shadows I've just done, and we also edited up the video about processing our Luffa, which the Luffa used to be in this tour. And you'll see what it looks like now if you didn't see that video yet. But we are processing, continuing along in the month. Things are still green. One of the things we always start on is this, well, let me back up. Weather just has turned. So it's not quite freezing yet. We haven't had any frost. We've still a few degrees above that, so we're not in any danger of that in the 2-week forecast. So I don't know when we're going to have it. Frankly, I don't know if we're going to have it, because we don't get freezes every winter here in the panhandle of Florida, on the coast of the panhandle. Now, 10 miles that way, across the Chattahoochee Bay, inland, they do get freezes. Most winters, almost every winter. In fact, I don't know if there's been a winter they didn't get a freeze. You come over here across the big, huge Chattahoochee Bay, and we don't get as cold out here. Our water around us tends to keep our temperatures more moderated. And so we've actually seen, in the 7 years we've been in this town, we've actually seen a winter where we didn't even get a single freeze at all. And so we don't really know if we're going to get that freeze. I have to watch the forecast because, well, you'll have to watch the next part, because there's raised garden beds that we're going to do in the next garden tour. So anyway, we're looking here behind me at the arch trellis, the first arch trellis I put up, and this currently has blackberries on it. And these are blackberry vines, the things with no leaves, and these have grown this year. I'm presuming, I think this has grown this year. It doesn't look that great, but some of these really do look good. In fact, you can see here, this has grown since the last garden tour. It's grown a couple of feet. So all I do with this is I simply go up here and stick them through and keep them coming, keep them going through. And so that's all I'm doing right now with the blackberries. That's it. It's just not much. And what's that take me? All of 12 seconds a month. So I think there's a couple of others that we're going to go walk through here, and then we're going to walk around the outside. We're going to see the newly cleared back end of our outer beds, which is just amazing. It's a total different feel out here now. But we're going to record this garden tour. There's really not a whole lot going on. The sun is about to set, and I kind of need to get this thing recorded before it starts getting dark. So from the seating area, past the tripod you were just on, we have the Blackberry Trellis. And these things are growing. They're looking strong. There's a lot of blackberries in here. This is the smaller of our blackberry trellises. You can see this thing has started to come out a little farther from the last garden tour. But I just basically, every once in a while, walk through here and make sure that something doesn't need to get pulled through. Whoop, that's already been pulled through. Don't need to do that again. So, and keep things going, keep things weaved in so that they can go. Now I will point out right here, we do still have a tomato, and you'll notice here it is December, folks, and we have everglades tomatoes growing up there that need to be harvested. I'm seeing a whole bunch of them up there. These will be coming out soon. I'm glad I saw this because I had forgotten. These are kind of a prolific understory tomato that grows down here in Florida. But you can see that vine goes all the way over here. There's even more tomatoes right there. That's the everglades tomato that we grow. Pomegranate trees have lost almost all their leaves, certainly all the pomegranates. All the green you see right up in here right now is the tomato plant. There's no green left on the pomegranate tree. There are a few yellowing leaves that you can see off in the distance over there. There's a few of those trees, leaves on the tree. There's some back over here is even more. You know, in light of what that thing did, that tomato did, I might try growing some of those on purpose up under here. That might be an interesting experiment. So past the fourth pomegranate tree, which we still haven't done, we come to the back of the blueberries, which are just holding their own. They're getting their chill hours so that they can get ready to produce for the next year. And we should start seeing production from them very soon. Coming around here to the Cathedraloupe. This is the Cathedral arch trellis. It's facing west to east with a transept and a nave. And I'm sitting over here looking, I don't know if you can see just on the right side over there. Oh, there is a bee. We have our bee box back over there. Nothing growing here. The only stuff that's on here is you saw the Grinch walking through this dead arch trellis. This had cantaloupe on it. We're going to have to figure out what to do with this next year. I don't know that I want to do cantaloupe on here again. Yeah, another year for this trellis to not be doing anything. Looking over here in the meadow area, you can see the Comfry has just given up the ghost. Now I guarantee give it a couple more warm days, that thing will be back up to full living again. In fact, you can see there's another one down over here. Comfry is a deep-rooted plant. It draws up nutrients from deep under the ground. And these huge, enormous leaves, in fact, let me just pull one out here. Oh, these enormous leaves are very rich in nutrients, and they're a great chop and drop kind of plant. Just chop up the leaves and just drop them in the garden and let them process naturally. They will feed the ground. So we do have the elephant ears over here that are coming up. We'll have to see what those do this next year. A lot of the Biden's alba and other weeds. I'm calling this the meadow area because I am letting it grow naturally and be its natural state. We have over here the fig trees. Of course, they have lost all of their leaves. It's been cold enough. And let me zoom out just a little more. You can see there's little green tips on all the branches, which means it's alive. This is my almost perfect little fig tree that I'm very proud of how it's going. It has 4 leaders around. It has a main leader going up, and it's going to have 4 more leaders hopefully one day at about, I don't know, what's that, chest high for me? And then we're going to keep this thing kind of harvestable, which means it shouldn't get above 8 feet when it's grown. So we will need to do a little bit of trimming off of here. And that one there, I'm intending to let it go a little bit higher than this fig tree. The Loquat hedge is looking fantastic. I would love to see some Loquats on these 5 trees this year. I don't know if it's going to happen. We don't want to trim this now. But this higher one right here, we want to keep. Ultimately, I'm going to be keeping this trimmed down to about a 6 to 8 foot hedge once the harvest comes in. That will start to flower here. If it's going to have any loquats, it'll start to flower here in a few months. There is a lemon tree under here. Actually, there's a lemon tree in this big, huge pot right here, and another one in the ground that I intend to get a little more intentional with and trim down to a single strong leader, stake it up, and try to get something that looks a little bit more like the lemon tree I would expect it to be. There's another one of those comfrey plants right there that is great for just chop and drop, and just chop all those leaves off and throw them in the compost or drop them in the garden bed. This was the, watermelon bed. And funny thing is, there actually is some watermelon leaves in here still. Look at this. It's trying to shoot out more watermelons. There's a female flower. There are no male flowers as far as I can see to pollinate it, so nothing's going to happen here, but I just think that is very interesting. Here in the middle, actually, we're on the 21st, so we're at the last third of December, and this watermelon is still trying to produce. Love these things. Crimson Sweet watermelon has been a great producer for me and for my neighbor's garden just right over here. We grow these together and let them kind of wander. The brown turkey fig tree that we straightened up on an earlier video, it is not quite ready to have the straps removed. In fact, we removed all the shade cloth, and I'll show you, we'll talk about that in a second. And when I removed that, this stake had nothing holding it, so I had to put up another piece of wire to keep it held straight so that this strap would hold the tree up so that everything would be pointing in the right direction. We do still need to trim this thing up. Be sure to subscribe, and so you don't miss the either the success or the disaster of my tree trimming. I have been known to destroy fig trees. So are you growing figs? If anybody else is out there growing figs, comment. Let me know what your type of fig you're growing. This one here, I do know this is a brown turkey fig, and it is from a friend, and I've seen it produce amazing figs. You can see we have some figs in bags over here. In fact, this is what I do with things that I want to keep the birds from getting. I don't know if these are going to be able to. We're supposed to get some more warm weather. I don't know. We'll just have to see. It's really late in the season, and this tree was not strong enough to produce figs at the beginning of the year, which is when our fig trees normally produce. I have no doubt, though, this thing will be producing next year. I'm very excited about that. It's going to be a good year for figs on this tree and the other two big fig trees you just saw. Past the watermelon patch. Okay, so folks, this is the location. If you've watched any of our videos, you know what used to be here just recently. It was the Great Luffa Expanse. We had, well, let's just look here in this video. Here's shade cloth with Luffa hanging around everywhere, and we look around the corner here and you can see that arch trellis with covered in Luffa, and the big tree up there that's covered in Luffa, maybe even a ladder in this snippet. I don't know, some of these snippets have ladders, some of them don't, but now it is all cleared. Me and cousin No Time Mark, which you've seen several times on our channel, and our backyard neighbor, we spent about 2 hours, and we cleared not only all the vines that were over the beans and the garden, the raised beds and everything, but all the vines that were covering everything else. It was, face it, it was a mess. But our this arch trellis, which I think we're going to grow cantaloupe. I'm thinking cantaloupe if I can, but we'll have to see. We're still making plans. Mrs. Bowtie and I are getting ready to start planning next year's garden. We're a little late planning, mainly because we were out of the country for a whole month in October, and we're now trying to catch up. It has been an uphill battle, that's for sure. But anyway, so the big oak tree with the jasmine here. Let me just spin around here out of the direct sunlight and come show you, of course, the jasmine we planted here. It was a gift from a good friend of mine. You can see it's actually grown up. It was growing up underneath the Luffa. Now, the Luffa killed everything else it grew on top of, but not the jasmine. The jasmine just kept going and going and going. There's actually some of it going up top. Those leaves look like they might be suffering. I don't know if that's going to live or not. We'll have to see how much of it survives. This is actually branches that grew out of the tree trunk, and I think the Luffa may have killed that tree trunk ultimately, which is what we're doing. You know, if we can get a few years out of this tree trunk being useful in the garden, I was going to be happy. So past the wood pile, which is just past the tree trunk, we have a little area we're going to grow pumpkins in this year. I'm very excited, and we will be clearing this out here in the next month or two, putting down cardboard and planting our pumpkin plants. Can you see that squirrel running across up there? We have lots of squirrels running around here. Love to see him do a trick for us, but I don't think he's going to. Anyway, we'll be having pumpkins growing around this area, and there's just not much there now. I've just mowed what was our corn patch. I would like to do corn patch again in this area. I had old seed, and neither me nor my neighbor, which we both grew from the same package of seed, neither one of us had a lot of success in the corn patch this year. But we look over to the left, we have a lemon tree up under here with a dying pomegranate tree, which I'm probably going to end up taking out. Yes, I will have killed another pomegranate. And then there's 3 more pomegranate over here that I will be cleaning up all the pomegranate trees here pretty soon. Getting rid of a lot of those suckers, getting them up to 1 to 3 liters, and hopefully make these things produce better. You can see we have a new crop of elephant ears popping up over here from somewhere. Not sure where those came from, they just popped up. That's how elephant ears do around here. Some very big ones though. The rosemary, this is our original rosemary for the property, which is kind of cool. I take cuttings from this and start new plants. We have 2 others in the garden, and I've given away quite a few others of this. Rosemary is, of course, a perennial, which means it will live year after year. The pots on the south end of the backyard here, not a lot going on in here. I need to clean this out. In fact, most of these pots need to get cleaned out. There is some aloe growing right here that I really like, and I just occasionally come in here and pull the weeds out. This mess right here is protecting a lemon tree. And so I let this stuff grow over it and kind of not really do a lot with it to protect it in the cold. Hopefully we can keep this thing living, and I want to do a little bit more intentional job of bringing this up to a single liter so we can get a nice looking lemon tree in here and produce lemons. We're coming over here to the Dietes bicolor decorative grass. It has a little flower on it, and which is what was right here a long time ago. But this needs to be broken up. I've said that month after month after month. I'm going to do it one of these days. I'm actually going to shoot a video. Anybody I've told that if you would like a Loquat tree, there's half a dozen of them left over here. I've given away a couple more. I can see 4 there. Sometimes they fall over. It's not a really good tray I have them in. I need to get a better tray in there. Maybe that'll hold it better. This is kind of the messy end over there. There's actually one over there that is just dead. But if I can keep these things upright, there's actually an irrigation head that goes off right now once every 4 days and gives it a little bit of water, keeps them alive. They're kind of dormant. They've been dormant for a very long time, all year in fact, even though it's been summer. They're in those little tiny cups. They have just enough soil to still exist, but not thrive. Once you put them in the ground, they take off amazingly. So, last thing over here, of course, is the compost. This compost, you can see, is getting rather full. This is the one I just started a month or 2 ago, and there's a lot of loofah in there. So as it gets wet, and as that irrigation head just up here gives it a little bit of water every few days, it will start decaying. There's leaves in there, a lot of leaves. There's coffee grounds, there's kitchen scraps, all kinds of stuff in here. And that will, of course, break down to something like this. And this is last year's compost, and you can actually see I've had critters digging in here for the worms, which is what they do, and they're aerating this for me, and eventually this will get spread out into our garden beds, and we have about a cubic yard here of beautiful worm casting rich garden compost ready to go. The only thing really left in here, of course, is this palm tree, which is just looking gorgeous. It is just a full palm tree back here. And of course, our magnolia. This is our second magnolia. I didn't point out the one at the beginning of this video, but we walked past it right behind the blueberries. And this thing is looking beautiful. It's going to start putting out its flowers here pretty soon. In fact, no, that's not a flower. But yeah, it's a beautiful magnolia tree. It puts out beautiful leaves. We use it for decorations and stuff. And that's really about all there is to the outer beds. It doesn't look like a lot right now. We're going to be doing work on this in the next few months. Hopefully get this pumpkin patch and corn patch ready to go. Maybe grow more cantaloupes. The biggest thing, if you didn't see the videos on the Luffa disaster here, there's a lot of them. It's dominated the content of this channel for a lot of the summer and fall, definitely all fall. But it's nice to have this cleared again and looking so good, back to normal. It looks totally different now. It feels totally different out here now. So this is, of course, my garden journal. I use this as a reference tool for myself as I'm looking to see how things progress, how different areas of the property have progressed. I go back and look at these videos. There's a lot of indexing in the in the description for these on YouTube, and you can go through and go to particular parts of the video and see whatever particular items you might be interested in, which is what I do quite frequently, as I'm looking to see, oh, did I grow this before? And oh yes, I did grow that before, and just remembering what I've did. So truly a garden journal for me. But anyway, we will continue on the next section of the garden tours. This is part 2. Part 1, of course, was the front yard. Part 3 will be these raised beds. There's some things happening in there, and we're going to harvest something. So I'm very excited about that. Stay tuned, subscribe so you don't miss the big harvest we have coming up in the raised beds in the end of December. Yes, it is December, and we have stuff that we're getting ready to harvest here in Destin, Florida. So that's about everything. Be sure not to miss the Grinch music video, the Grinch song, You're a Bad Gardener, Mr. Grinch. And I had fun making that. I sang it. I did the Grinch. I did everything for it. It was all me. It's just me out in the garden. And invite you to just have some fun with that. Y'all have a blessed day.